This is something that Redacted covered recently, and they had just mentioned Victimhood Olympics, and it was to do with something to do with the royal family, and it's a racist remark that a grandfather had made, which was not really racist, more race baiting, and falls in line with, maybe even sort of how I used to think. And it's weird, like, I don't try to use my past as a status, and I don't think that I'm a victim of society. I think that my past is a result of my own choices that I've made, which have gotten me into a lot of different situations. A lot of good, a lot of bad, went both ways. I've been out of trouble about 8 years now, and I've been doing good. But this victimhood thing is something that I really like to focus on, because I know that I lived my life feeling like stuff was unfair, right? Like everything was against me, and really I had reason to believe that. The odds weren't in my favor for a certain duration of time, and the hardest thing to accept for me was that I put myself in that position. Not only did I do that, but I sort of asked for the treatment that I got from, a lot of the people that I loved. And it wasn't overnight that I earned that trust back. It wasn't overnight that I earned, the love back and the family. And, to this day, it's still one day at a time for me. It's still, it's still a daily objective to make sure I don't fall back into that victimhood mentality. But I'm seeing it a lot in society, where people are pulling race into the picture when it has nothing to do with it. Or people are pulling their experiences into pictures so they can get platforms for it, rather than the platform should be used for good. It shouldn't be used for status, is the point. And if you had a rough life, you might have a part in that. You might have a part in why people treated you some type of way. And it's not always racism. It's not always, classism. It's not always corrupt government. It's not always news and shitty politicians. A lot of the time, that stuff influences and has a big part to do with like everything that's going on. But that being said, I think that each individual would agree in our country that we all make our own choices every day, okay? And when you make certain choices, there's no turning back from some of those things. You have to, it's a lot harder to gain trust than it is to lose it. And there's a reason for that. It's because changing from bad to good is harder than changing from good to bad. It's a lot easier to be greedy than it is to be helpful. It's a lot easier to be a dick than it is to be a humanitarian. And it's kind of easier to be a victim than it is to be someone who overcame their circumstances and accepted their responsibility and accepted their mistakes, So I just caution, no matter what club you're in, no matter who you roll with, what your community is, I don't care. I really don't. I support you, your belief systems, your communities, but really think about that victim word before you throw it out there, before you paint yourself in that light. Nobody cares what you're doing in your bedroom. Nobody cares who you marry. Nobody cares what the color of your skin is. Some people care. Most people do not. The majority of people, especially in the United States of America, are interested in content of your character. And the word vibe comes to mind. I know I sound like a hippie, but if you can't keep a good vibe around human beings, they're not going to want to be around you. And if you're always playing the victim, that's not fun. That's bubblegum chewing shit. Like Dave Chappelle was saying. I still can't believe you quoted Iceberg Slim. You suck.